The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Wednesday, the middle of the week and the beginning of a new era. We have a promotional video again.
Yeah, at the same time that Rhode Island came out with their cluster, Fall River came out with theirs.
Well, there's government at its best, wasting money on totally inane, just a way to spend money and give their friends some extra money for doing this. I mean, I'm not going to pick on Fall River right out of the gate. Let's go to Rhode Island. Gina
right.
Raimondo came up and spent, there's a $5 million thing to attract people to Newport, to Rhode Island in general. And, I guess they haven't figured out that Newport's one of the biggest tourist attractions in the eastern United States. And they're not going to try to double down on that. They're going to pay some other friend consultant to come up with another one. So they got rid of the slogan that actually said Rhode Island in it for a slogan that says cooler and warmer. What does that mean? What is that, a weather forecast? Doesn't say what state it is. And then they got a logo that I assume in the middle is supposed to be a sail because of the Rhode Island's got a lot of beaches on the water and stuff. But I mean, you look at it, it looks like a Picasso. You can't figure out what it is. This is what government does all the time. This is part of the propaganda machine to make you think they're actually like working and doing something and trying to fix the problem. But you can't fix a problem without looking at the problem and dealing with it. No, what do? Oh, Newport, America. Yeah, you got the mansions, you got the Tennis Hall of Fame, you got a pro tennis tournament. The only other grass professional tennis tournament in the world outside of Wimbledon, right after Wimbledon. You've got beautiful beaches, you've got the mansions, you've got the 12-mile drive, you've got all kinds of things. There's literally hundreds of thousands of tourists every summer in Newport. You think somebody'd figure out that you could market the rest of the state through Newport?
But Chip, it's cooler and warmer.
It's cooler. Hey, forgive me, but if I was somebody from South Dakota traveling to New England, and I saw a sign that said cooler and warmer, I wouldn't have any idea that's a promo for Rhode Island and the state of Rhode Island. I'd say, well, it's not cooler than South Dakota because it gets cold as hell up here, but it is warmer. So I don't know what they're talking about.
I hear you.
And listen to this. This is the thing that really kills me. These people they go from the ridiculous to the sublime. This guy was a big money. They had to hire this guy because this guy was big money. He came up with the famous, one of the most famous slogans in the world. I love New York. Really?
Hey.
That's it's like, really?
That's so New York,
people have said, I love Fall River. I love Connecticut. It's like that was his claim to fame. This guy is an icon.
Yeah.
In this industry. So it shows how much BS this industry really is.
Yeah, and Chip, by the way, you have all my notes. You have 2 sets of notes there, so you have all my notes, so I can't even get to them.
Oh, here, you can send Carlos out. I'll hand them to him.
So I'm going to give you the privilege today of reading the first of the poems we're getting published out there about Fall River by a published poet. And I think what's very interesting is that he was already, we got to give him the invitation. He can join the Negativity Fan Club. I appreciate Mr. Dozois, I don't know how he says it, D-O-Z-O-I-S, his poem. It's very interesting. And Chip, I'm going to give you the privilege of reading it because you know what? It really is a good poem, and it's very clear and factual.
Well, it does, you know, I mean, obviously, I'm not a poet unless I don't know it, but this is, it sounds pretty good, and I apologize, you said his name, I'm not even going to make an attempt because nothing irritates me than when people mispronounce my last name, so, and we didn't have the ability to get a hold of him to ask him, because that's what we normally do when we deal with people whose names are a little difficult to pronounce, so off we go. And the title of the poem is Come to the River, and that's R-I-V-A, not R-I-V-E-R, so. Come to the river, visit Battleship Cove. Section 8 families come from Boston in droves. See Harbor Mall, oh yeah, it's soon closed, but a grand shopping center has now been proposed. Take a walk on our streets, but just don't look down. Heroin packets or needles may likely be found. Down to the harbor, the boardwalk is sweet. You might learn some cuss words when you stop for a seat. Portuguese soup cooks on many a stove. Sweet bread's a favorite with an egg in the loaf. All kidding aside, the river is cool. Visiting the river is for any old fool. Not bad. Not bad.
But you know, it's factual, and of course, everyone's already saying it's negative. And you know what? You have to admit, it's interesting that when the people of Fall River are saying this, guess what? Why are our elected officials being morons, being moronic, being idiotic, being ignorant to what the people see and what they believe? Let's move on to our promotional video.
Oh, then here goes. Okay, guys, we warmed them up with Rhode Island, so they can't say we pick on Fall River all the time because we picked on Raimondo. We're picking on the entire industry of this horse manure about marketing, you know,
yes.
Because that's their con that they're trying to do something to help the city. Okay, all right, CJ, take it away.
You know, this video was very well done. It's a very good piece of fiction. I have to give the Chamber of Commerce credit. It didn't cost them a dime. It cost the Fall River taxpayer.
The taxpayers. And Rob Mellion does it again. He gets to speak endlessly in front of the council with no time limit.
Yep.
And he doesn't live in the city. And now he gets the city of Fall River to do his job.
Well, and the thing is that the city, the mayor, well, let's not say the city, the mayor and Rob Mellion say it cost nothing. So obviously the people who worked hours and hours on this video worked for free. So Renee Kochman, who gets a nice salary from the public school system, Pam, she gets a nice salary, and all the editors and camera people, they all worked for free. My question is, how many hours did they volunteer? Okay, because I know that this takes a lot of work. And, you know, people say, well, you know, this is not an increase in costs. These are salaries that were already paid. I understand that, but it has a dollar figure attributed to it. And this is how you spin the BS. Now,
yeah, and let's face it, these people got their jobs, you know, and they have their jobs, and they're jobs that have a lot of political aspects to them.
Yes.
And so if they had the time to do this, maybe they don't have a lot of work in the first place. But the fact is, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
well, you know,
You work for free, but then again, down the road, you know, most of these people are going to remind them, remember the time that
That's
I
right.
volunteered, you know, and now that I want a favor, remember all the, you know, that's.
but you know, in full disclosure, Pam used to work for what was then known as Channel 13 News. Pam's been around for a long time. She's worked in media. Rainey Kochman, I have a great deal of respect for. Rainey runs FRG TV and Fred TV and is a great asset to Fall River, as well as a great partner here with FRC Media and with our show and our debates. And, you know, so I don't want them to take this personal.
Yeah.
But I believe that their time is valuable. And to say that this didn't cost anything is a misrepresentation.
Yeah, and they do what they do. Look, they put this together, and it's the best they could do with what they had. But
Right.
you know, and don't take it. I've known Renee for years. You know, he used to go down to the boys' club, and I used to see him virtually every day. I haven't seen him in a while, but I see him occasionally at our debates. He's a great guy. He's very competent. But listen, my problem is with this whole thing is government waste. They figure out ways to con everybody that they're really working to turn this city around, but nobody is objective enough to look at say, look, this is not the way to go. You know, this stuff, come to Fall River, you know, this is going to attract people while nothing is done to reduce the unemployment rate. Nothing is done to bring the household income up to continue to support businesses, the few businesses that are left. None of that is being done. This is the kind of facade they throw up and the propaganda they throw at us to pretend they're doing something. You know, listen, it's Rob Million's job with the Chamber of Commerce to do this. He's a paid shill for them. He's gonna make gold out of BS as much as he can to protect his own salary. You know, he's not gonna say, let's make a promo video and you know, and oh, I don't want that because, hey, it feeds into this constant extension of the myth that our political bodies are working in the best interests of the people of Fall River. And that is an absolute falsehood. It's a myth, and they continue to perpetuate that myth with this kind of BS. Come on, Rob. Come on, Jazel. You think a picture of the Braga Bridge, the fact that Amazon came here, is going to entice people to come to Fall River? You don't think that they're going to look? You don't think businesses look and say, oh, crap, you know, they had A.J. Wright leave. They had everybody leaves after the TIF's gone. You don't think they can figure out why Amazon came here? You don't think that people who are going to come to Fall River are going to check the school system?
Well,
Gonna check the crime rate? Going to check the average income? Yeah, some yuppie from Boston's going to move out of their neighborhood where houses are $500,000 and up to come down here and get a deal on a house so he can live right in front of a street where half the drug addicts in the city is shooting up or a block away. Come on, guys, let's go. Let's be realistic. Let's be objective, and I'm tired of it. This is not negativity. It's like reality. You know, the problem is, well, you know, if you got 3-inch arms, you know, you can't have deep pockets. Because I know a lot of people like that. They got 3-inch arms and deep pockets because they never pay for anything.
That's right.
But, you know, you got to be realistic. And, you know, forgive me. I had a job that made me be realistic. When I pulled up in front of a building, it was burning at 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't pretend it was better than it was. I had to look at what I had and do the best I could. And that's called reality. It's called adapting to a situation and improvising. And that's what Fall River has to do. And the first step in doing this to help this city is to face reality.
Oh, you're asking for the wrong thing.
Not do this crap. Well, you might as well make a cartoon. Why did you even bother? Make little cartoon figures.
But you know,
Because it's
Chip,
crap.
let's quickly go through this because we're actually running out of time because this thing could take up 2 days. It opens up with, you know, a picture of the bridge and welcome to Fall River and da-da-da-da-da, and you move on, and they talk about industry. What industry? They show a construction site for Amazon. Hey, wonderful. Hooray! They move on to 21st century education. Meanwhile, we have a city council president who says we're not funding it, we can't meet net school spending, and we have a failing educational system. So that's 21st century education. Then you have a small business owner, and this is the key. Remember, people, remember now, this is the key. You have a small business owner comes out. Fall River is great for small business because they give you lots of tax incentives. Oh, wow, let's just should have opened with that. We're going to give away the kitchen sink for you to come here. Now, I just had this conversation with our colleagues here at the studio. I've had this conversation overnight, and I actually sent this video out to California, to a reputable marketing professor at one of the major universities to review it. And I asked him to review this video as a business agent looking to locate into another city or town in Massachusetts. I said, and do exactly what you would do, and please generate a report for me on what you found and what your recommendation would be for Fall River. This is a person who has no attachment to Fall River. This is a person who has no axe to grind, isn't on the political payroll, and doesn't do anything in respects to Fall River. So he's not attached here. Because you know what? We need somebody on the outside to turn around and say, that place is a dump. Because we say it and we're negative. We bring it up and we're not positive in it. This video, as I said, is a great video. And no video that you're using to market anything is going to present the crack whores, the drug addiction, the crime rate. They're not going to show the dilapidated buildings owned by the city with barriers around it because windows are falling on people, or buildings that have open windows and mushrooms growing out of the floor because there's no roof that the city owns. They're not going to do that because they're trying to attract people. But at the same time, when you're looking at these videos and you're looking at the pictures and you're looking at the video, you don't see anything. So this video was so wonderful, okay, that they've now commissioned a second version 2.0 video to be done to correct it.
Well,
that's how good it is. They're taking the Rhode Island path.
Listen, CJ, look. I have to disagree. I think this video is absolute crap. It lies.
Yes, it is. It's all lies.
21st century marketing is supposed to be marketing the strength of something and
Right.
actually have some grain of truth in it. 21st century education? Really? Come on. Businessman saying this place is great because they give out. I don't give a damn how many tax breaks you get. I don't care if you get. I don't care if they eliminate taxes. We'll still have a city with the fewest businesses of any city of our size in the Commonwealth, because at one time we had the second least amount of businesses, only behind Lawrence, which was the only city that was poorer than us. Now we beat Lawrence. I think maybe when the new stats come out, we may have the fewest small businesses and businesses overall of any city of our size in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Again, rather than being second to last. So if you're a businessman, that caveat that should have went with that promo is, and by the way, you probably will never sell any of your products because nobody's got any money in this city. And you don't think that anybody with a really good business and a business head is going to look at the demographic in the city, look at the income to see how much money and how much it's supply and demand. And you got a supply, but if you don't have any demand because there's no money, you can't function. That's why we don't have a lot of businesses. I mean, I can't, this is insane. I look at this stuff, I want to hit myself sometime with, just rather than a heavy bag, because it's like a company like Walmart, the world's biggest retail store for the lower socioeconomic level, couldn't float a Sam's Club in these areas. They're so economically depressed. A multinational business like that, a billion-dollar business, couldn't sustain a wholesale club because people can't buy in bulk. Even though you're getting it cheap, you got to buy like 25 of everything in Sam's Club. So what did they do? They went down to the Walmart and they bought one. So, I mean, let's be realistic. You don't fix it by pretending this city is something it isn't. You fix this city by looking at our problems and bringing things into this city that are going to help elevate the people and the community. Yeah, But what do? No, they make videos like this, and then they tell you everything's going to get better because this video is going to bring them in, build it and they'll come, make a video and they'll come. Well, they're not going to come, and you got the Office of Economic Destruction again saying, we're not going to do any kind of shipping. Oh, heaven forbid that we do what New Bedford and Providence has been doing it for years. And they're making money, and they got jobs. Jobs come with that.
But you know, part of this video said that we have the deepest seaport
that we're not using. They didn't put that
in Massachusetts. And I said in my column, I said, guess what? Ken Fiola has already said it. We're a recreational port. Yeah, we're a recreational port. We have docking space. Where? Everywhere you can dock your boat is owned by a private entity. Mike Lund, former city council president, who made sure that he got everything he needed for Borden Light Marina, and our own city pier we can't use. And when we do want to finally get it open, we're going to make it available privately. It's going to be privately managed, if even sold, because the city's not in that business. There's no way to get off your boat in Fall River. So what they do is they pass through Fall River to get to Newport. But hey,
well, you know, the thing is,
don't get me going.
Look, yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying. No, we're a recreational port. Really? If you jump into the Taunton River near the Battleship Cove, you come up looking like the Toxic Avenger. You glow in a dock for a month.
and you know, really, what recreation is there?
And listen, I'm not kidding. I dove under the Big Mamie.
Yep.
Because I was one of the 2 leaders of the fire department dive team. We actually created it, and we dove for free because it would have cost the city a lot of money. We dove under the Big Mamie to pull up anodes that had broken off that retard corrosion. And these anodes are like 15 feet long, and they're made of silver and copper, and they create an electrical field which inhibits the corrosion, and they're worth a lot of money, and they had lost virtually every one of them over the years. We went down and we recovered those things in 10 feet of silt. And I can tell you, I dove in that water. We went down there with lights that have got 50,000 candle power, and I couldn't see 3 inches in front of me. It was like diving in a dark closet. That water is, and it took me a week to wash my wetsuit off. So don't tell me recreational port. Yeah, I'm going to stop in Fall River where there's very few restaurants out of Portuguese restaurants. There's really no tourist attraction, rather than sail up a little bit longer and go to Newport, Rhode Island, where you have hundreds of shops and Thames Street and Bowen Wharf and all these places, or sail a little bit farther and go down to the Cape and pull in Yarmouth or.
But Chip, we have fine dining.
Barnstable, because Barnstable's going to have plenty of stuff later. Because all the people
coming here
River are going to come here.
But this is what they miss, and you know what? This video says that we have fine dining. These people don't know what fine dining is. Okay, the way that we're dressed right now, which is pretty decent, I mean, is meant for Newport Creamery or Applebee's or Chili's or a casual place. Fine dining means you sit down, you take a drink, somebody's standing behind you, they take away the glass and they give you a fresh, clean glass. Okay? You got to go in a jacket and tie. You got to be wearing shoes, not sneakers, no shorts. That's fine dining. And we don't have fine dining in Fall River. I don't care what they say. They can say the Cove or Sogs or anything that's fine dining. It's not fine dining. All right? We don't have fine dining in Fall River. You know why? We can't afford it. Yeah. We can't afford it. No, you and I have been to some very good fine dining restaurants.
Absolutely.
We've gone to places where you cannot get a better steak. Okay? And we know where that is, Peter Luger's. I mean,
the best in the world. But yeah, but the thing is that's the fact. I mean, look, we do have good, and I'm not saying anything about Portuguese restaurants. We have a lot of them here, and some of them are very good.
Yeah.
But they're not quote unquote the kind of restaurants that people are coming on vacationing that are going to go to the Cape and Newport. The tourists we're trying to attract, go down to even as close as Plymouth and see all the restaurants down there, and you come here and it's like, if you had those kind of restaurants, you're going to pay more for your dinner than you allocate out of your budget for your week's groceries.
Exactly.
And that's why we don't have those kind of restaurants in the city of Fall River. Because, you know, when you go to a prime steakhouse, you're paying anywhere from $50 to $75 for the steak. And that's not even Kobe beef. That's just prime aged beef.
Right.
And that's without everything else is a la carte. You got to pay extra for the potatoes and the asparagus and whatever you're getting. So you're going to drop $150 if you don't drink a lot for your dinner.
Right.
And, you know, that's why these places do not exist in Fall River. I mean, you can get intermediate steps in but Providence has fine dining.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, you know, they continue to just, you know,
lie.
That's the new one now. It's, you know, I think I finally come on. It's a myth.
Right.
The Fall River myth. And that's what these politicians and people like, remember, Rob Million has a vested interest. That's what they want to do. And you can, you know, I'm not being negative. I want to see this city succeed. I know that this city cannot succeed because we haven't succeeded. We've gotten worse over the last 20 years.
Right.
Doing the same crap over and over again, and we know what that's the definition
you know, I can't believe it. I just looked at the clock and I'm like, wow, our time's almost up here. Real quick, I want to get into two things before we make an announcement at the end. Any of you who have not read Mark Dion's column, in the city of Charisse, promotional video is a cheese sandwich. He's absolutely right, 100% in this article. This is a blatant template. This is a boilerplate video. And he's right. You know, the video isn't supposed to pick out the negative in Fall River. It's not supposed to pick out the drug addicts and the whores and the problems. It's supposed to do exactly what it's doing. It's supposed to promote some of the better aspects of Fall River, although it didn't really do that. It just lied. So I have a challenge out there for you amateur video producers. Produce a 3 to 5 minute video showing the truth about Fall River. Not this bull that the city produced. I want to see your actual video of what you see in Fall River every day. I want you to market what people see in Fall River when they come here after viewing the Welcome to Fall River video where we're moving on. Okay? Because you know what? We want some truth. So I challenge all you amateur video producers out there to produce that. And the last bit of crap, which we have a little less than a minute on, is a red carpet for Amazon in Fall River, Mass, and hopes for more. This is a New York Times quote-unquote article. But when you read it, it's a commercial real estate ad with lots of pictures of things like the Academy building. Oh, imagine that, Commonwealth Landing. Okay? A picture of the highway and the bridge. Doesn't close the closed lanes on the bridge. It only shows the open lanes right outside of Government Center. And this is an absolute travesty. And James Murdoch, who wrote this yesterday, okay, sold his soul to the devil. And he did this for Kenny Fiola and for Tony Cadero and they're even named in this, okay? Tony Cadero, Larry Kudu, Alan Macomber. Do these names sound familiar to you, Chip? They sound familiar to me.
Yep. Okay,
and this is what I mean by they're trying to do everything possible to present us in the most positive light, and that's their job. That's their job. I applaud you on doing your job.
You know what they shouldn't have done, CJ? They shouldn't have put the picture, this picture in there, because it's a picture, and what does it have? And giant, it's got a picture of what Fall River really is. It has an advertisement for the Red Cedar, which is out of business.
Out of business, yep.
And above it, it says Jerry Remy's Sports Bar, which only keeps the name.
Exactly.
But Jerry Remy bailed out.
Right. So you know,
a business that had to change hands after only a few years in business,
yep.
and a business that went belly up.
Yep.
So, yes, this is a promotional article. It is not a factual article.
And I want to say very clearly, real fast, I want to say happy birthday to my dad, Anthony Ferry. You probably remember him behind the counter at Billy's Cafe making those great chorizo and chip sandwiches. Happy birthday, Dad. And happy birthday to our friend Amy Blanchette. She's on her way out to Colorado to represent Bristol Community College as a student government leader.
Yeah, happy birthday. Your father should get a medal for putting up with you. Stay angry.